Hello, I'm Amy, also known as Hell Sucks, and I will be your server this evening. I'm a waitress, as you can see from my lovely waitressing uniform. Still messy from refilling a buffet for the last, 8 hours. And during this 8 hours, myself and my coworkers have put together a lovely little list containing the rules and general etiquette for eating out. Now, I personally work at a country club, but this applies to big boys, a truck stop, anywhere that you sit down to eat. Rule number 1, please control your children. We have to clean up after them if they spill or purposely dump anything onto the table. If they put ketchup into their drink, our bus boys have to clean it up. And trust me, I've washed dishes before too. It gets very irritating and it cannot come out in just one go around. So not only are you inconveniencing us, but you're wasting water there. If your child starts screaming, please quiet the child down or take it outside until he or she has calmed down. Because not only is it rude and distracting, but it disturbs other people's meals. And yes, it is very irritating to try to eat with someone screaming their head off, even if that someone is a baby and cannot help it. My brother's home, I can hear him. Campers. Anyone who sits at a table longer than 15 minutes after you pay, you need to give me an extra tip for that because, look, I make my tips from that table and 2 or 3 others. If that one table cannot be utilized for anyone new coming in, whoever needs that table will go to another one, and I cannot make a tip from that table. So for every 30 minutes, an extra $2-3 is more than appreciated. In fact, I consider it necessary. Which is why when I go out to eat and spend 2 or 3 hours with my friends, I gather up as much money for tips as possible. Compliments and complaints. Now, it is very nice to hear that I'm the best server you've ever had and that I'm a very nice person, but I cannot buy my food with compliments. I cannot pay my rent with compliments. I pay my rent and buy my food just like you do, with money. Therefore, if you have a compliment to give me, please give it to me in cash. The compliments are very nice, but I can't pay with compliments. And complaints. I'm sorry if your food is messed up. I'm sorry if the dishwasher didn't clean your dish properly. I had nothing to do with it. I brought the dish to you, and that's as much control as I have. Salvation pamphlets. It clutters up the table if you leave a pamphlet for me, my coworkers, or anyone else who is at the restaurant. Just because we are working on Sunday to serve you brunch after you go to church does not mean that we are not religious. I am Christian and I do find ways to get my Sunday sermon. It's through the internet. I love my church. It gives me a wonderful sermon through the internet that I can listen to when I'm getting ready for work, when I get home from work, anytime at my convenience, so that I can convenience you when you get out of church. Now, tipping in general. It's not the 1960s. Cost of living has gone up dramatically. I generally give 18% gratuity, as I feel anyone else should. A easier way to remember this is to take the first number in your bill. Like, for example, you paid $30 for a meal. Take that 3 and double it to a 6. That 6 is the amount of dollars you should be paying your waitress for tips. And also remember that your meal is taxed by us. We get taxed for what time we have. So, if you don't tip us, we're paying to serve you for the night. And I'm sorry, but that is just not a way to live. Free things. If my manager gives you a complimentary meal for something dramatically wrong, that does not mean that it was my fault. In fact, I'm the one that told the manager that you had a problem. I'm the one that had to go find her and probably got in trouble for giving you a wrong meal. So a tip would be very much appreciated for anything wrong with the meal because, again, as I said, it's not my fault that the kitchen ruined your meal. Late. People can be late, obviously. I mean, 5, 10 minutes. It happens. There's traffic, extenuating circumstances. But when you're at least half an hour late for your meal that you have reserved, once again, that table cannot be used because we have it set aside for you. And when people stay past the time that we have closed, say you came an hour before you left but you're camping, or you came about 10 minutes before we locked our doors for the night, we must stay until you leave. Even if you tell us, oh, you can go. No, we can't. Because we have to clean up your table and we have plenty of work to do afterwards, such as restocking the entire restaurant. Table hoggers. If you come for just coffee and dessert, please go to Starbucks. I love my customers, but there are more things on the menu that are more expensive, and quite honestly, if you go to a restaurant, you need to go to a restaurant for a meal, not a dessert. The greet. Any good server will come to you and give your name, her name, his or her name, the specials, any compliments we have to give you, and any other important information. Now, if you later on forget this is not our fault, and if you did not pay attention, it is very irritating to repeat myself, and I hate to do it. Cell phones. If I come by your table and you are on a cell phone, I do not want to ruin your conversation. Most servers will politely nod, greet you, and then leave you to your conversation and come back when you're done. Picky people. If we take you to a table, we take you there for a reason. Reason being that we will be able to serve you immediately because that table is next on that server's rounds. If you want a booth or a window seat, please tell us before we seat you. And waivers and snappers. If you did not listen to my name when I gave you my greeting, please do not wave or snap or beckon me with your hand. I am not deaf. If you say miss, then I will hear you. If you say, I'm sorry, I did not catch your name, I will hear you and give it to you again, in a very polite manner. Because if you couldn't hear because of a child screaming, that's very different. And finally, remember everybody. There are other people in that restaurant working their butts off for you, aside from the servers. There's also the hostess, the buffet fillers, the people preparing your meal, busboys, to-go orders. We all work so hard, and quite honestly, we cannot sit down during our 8-hour shift like most people can in their job. Please remember to give even just $1 to your buffet runners, busboys, anyone like that who is working just as hard as the servers to make your meal special. And that's the end of my list. Please keep this in mind when you go to a restaurant. Have a nice day.